in school history. They were great under Tom Gilbert. Emily Cohen is trying to take them to the next level. A challenging non-conference prepared them for this moment.
An at-large bid for Texas A&M that came out of that uber difficult SEC, a conference that got 9 teams into this tournament. Meanwhile, as we said, Colorado State beat San Jose State in the Mountain West Championship game to advance to the NCAA tournament. Should be a lot of fun, and a couple of teams here in this matchup that mirror each other quite a bit. Very similar styles, so it'll be interesting to see who can jump out in front in this matchup. The Aggies and the Rams from Tempe, Arizona. It's one of the best times of the year, getting the NCAA championship started. It will be Colorado State to serve and get us going. Maria Brun, the freshman out of Barcelona, Spain, back there ready to go, and we're underway. Immediately a big-time hammer and a kill right on cue, and there's Lednicki, who we were just talking about, Gavin.
Yeah, she's ready for this moment. We mentioned, and I think that was a good example of it. Last season, it was a little bit just relying on the strength of her arm. This year, very conscientious when to take speed off, where to place it. That one right along the sideline, picture perfect. A&M strikes first.
The IQ for Lednicki is what's really grown. Comfortability as well this year for Texas A&M. A service error right back is a mistake that time by Emily Helmuth. Knots up this first set at 1.
And that's something Jamie Morrison talked about in service. He expected Colorado State to be a little bit more aggressive. He wanted to be a little more conservative, mistake-free, take advantage of the fact that in terms of depth, in terms of player for player, A&M's probably better. That time an early service error gets Colorado State on the board.
And it's something definitely to look at going forward, especially in a matchup where you're running similar styles. Those are the kind of mistakes that can really make a difference. They go right down Broadway that time for a major kill right away. And that's Efena Kazapala, who is a major playmaker for Texas A&M.
Yeah, Kazapala on the slide this time. Look, she's a two-way talent, led the nation in blocks per set last year, but shows you she can get it done offensively. 378 hit percentage on the year.
Yeah, this is an A&M offense that's going to run a lot through their middle blocker as well as Lednicki. Off to that far side, a strike to the back line. It was out of play. And a nice start here for Texas A&M, 3-1. Nerves are always so much of a factor early on in an NCAA tournament match, Gavin, and certainly for both these sides, you want to try to temper those nerves and get into a rhythm early on.
Yeah, and this Colorado State team, super experienced. They played top-notch competition. Long time since they've been in the tournament, though. You have to adjust to this moment. A&M, they got the experience a year ago.
And they got that experience playing in the SEC all year long, where they took on top talent, 9 tournament teams throughout the year for Texas A&M. There's a left swing and another kill right on cue for Lednicki.
Yeah, Lednicki, opposite side, same result. Just able to set it, crossbody. Believe that was a little bit of a cut shot there, took some speed off it. Really nice work from her.
We mentioned the tournament success for Colorado State. Meanwhile, for Texas A&M, this is their 27th appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. They played off far side, met at the net, blocked away. Lednicki was there for A&M. She's been everywhere so far. For the Aggies from College Station, they play it back to her, and it's another kill. That time going with the offhand and going down line, and it's 5-1 A&M.
Yeah, I feel a little prescient right now, Braden. This is everything we discussed in that open, her ability to take speed off, to place it along the sideline, to bait defenders into going to the ball. Watch this here. Takes the speed off, puts it right off the hand of a blocker.
You're a smart guy. You made the correct predictions, but nice job for Colorado State to respond. Malaya Jones right on cue. She hails from Santa Ana, California. Played pretty close to her home state. And an aggressive swing there to get the Rams a much-needed point.
Yeah, USC transfer where she played under the coach we'll see in our next game, J.J. Van Niel, when he was an assistant there.
Lednicki. Why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And she has been outstanding so far. 4 kills in the early going for Lednicki.
Yeah, this Colorado State defense, 128th in the nation in blocks. They are 160th in opponent hit percentage, so solid defensively. They don't see a lot of talents like Lednicki, and they struggled at times this year when they did.
So an excellent start here for Texas A&M. Herman will play down center. It's blocked right in front. There's Taylor Humphrey, 6'3", normally an outside hitter, but a big-time swat right down the center.
Yeah, that was a great block put on by her. Texas A&M, they are elite in that category. Top 15 in the country a year ago, top 40 this year, and they have so many different players who can get it done.
Nearly picked up an ace that time on an excellent serve. Kept alive, though, and now the Aggies again attacking right down center. That's in play, and another point for Texas A&M. It was tipped by the Rams.
Yeah, that time Morgan Perkins getting involved. The Oklahoma transfer led the SEC in hitting efficiency this year. You have to watch out for her on that gap set. She's one of the best in the nation at pulling that off.
Pretty clear Texas A&M trying to play through their middles here in the early going of set number 1. It's an area they felt like they could have some success against. That was a nice quick ball that time by Emery Herman.
Yeah, great dump that time by Emery Herman, the Georgetown, Texas native, so she's certainly familiar with Texas A&M and their program. 2023 Mountain West Newcomer of the Year a season ago. Transferred from the University of Arizona, getting it done with some finesse that time.
Hails from the state of Texas originally. Georgetown, Texas. Went off to that far side again, Lednicki. Nice job to dig that and keep it alive.
A free ball for A&M, though, so they have a chance to do something.
Again, going to the well and Lednicki, but the Rams able to answer the call, keep this point alive. And that was a thing of beauty right in center yet again, Maddie Walk. She's a big-time player for A&M. Came over in an SEC transfer from LSU. She's kind of overlooked a little bit because of the star power on this Aggie roster, but she's an excellent player.
No, and the reason she's so dangerous on that dump shot is because she's 5th in the SEC, top 40 in the nation in assists. You expect her to pass. Everything opens up if she wants to go that direction.
Nicked off the top of the net, kept alive, and it's blocked right there, Helmuth. Emily Helmuth. And the Aggies clicking on all cylinders, a 10-3 lead in the early going.
And I'm interested to see if Emily Cohen decides to burn a timeout. She's trusting her team. Again, it's a lot of experience, a lot of players who have been in big-time games and moments. But right now, they're struggling a little in this opening round.
Outgunned in the early going. There's a kill right down line, though, right on cue. Karina Lieber. The Rams needed it, and that was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, she is... she's Mrs. Ram. I mean, she's the school record holder for sets played. Broke it at 497, now all the way up to 520. She's always there, always around, and packs a punch.
The setter. Elevation there, and it was tipped at a point for Colorado State.
Yeah, well, I guess it wasn't
A&M immediately calling for the challenge.
Yeah, we'll see if Jamie Morrison decides to go that direction. He's going up, looking for replay. He will challenge.
We'll have another look at this here. They played right down center that time, and it was Morgan Perkins who came up with that big swing. It was called Colorado State's point on the floor, and early on here in set number 1, we have our first challenge of this Tempe Regional.
Nice part of this, if you're Colorado State, you get an impromptu timeout, right? Emily Cohen gets a chance to check in with her squad.
A look at this last play.
Yeah,
see anything there, partner?
Well, 2 different spots that could have been touched, right? Right on that initial block, and then as they're going out, the libero, Kate Yoshimoto, swings that left arm up. I'm stalling because I don't know if it was touched, right? And it was very close. We'll see what our officials say.
From that look right there, I'm not sure if there's enough to overturn. And that's, of course, always the key. You have to have indisputable video evidence to turn it around. Here's another look at that same play, maybe a better view. Can't really tell at the net, and I think potentially Yoshimoto might have gotten that left hand on it.
She went for it. She was trying to pull back. You're more of a baseball guy than I am, right? It's that check swing. Right?
Yes.
She's like, no.
That split-second decision-making that's so tough. Yoshimoto from the state of Hawaii, Honolulu, and has been a big-time difference maker for the Rams as that libero, as you noted. Colorado State, in fact, took a trip out to Hawaii as a team in the offseason. It was a great bonding experience for the Rams. They went to Yoshimoto's house, and there was a big karaoke party there. And certainly she's been welcomed into this program and has been a big-time starter for the last 3 years for CSU.
That sounds like the dream, right?
Yeah.
Hawaii, karaoke, man. If you're a recruit, how could you not want to go to Colorado State? I guess zooming out, though, how about the start for Texas A&M, right? Sometimes in these matchups, 6 seed SEC team, the favorite can come out a little nervous. The underdog can come out, our backs against the wall, build some early momentum. Instead, A&M is playing like the favorite, right? They have impacted Colorado State, I think, with their athleticism, with their size, not just offensively, but defensively. Their blocking game really strong to start this one.
Both these coaches so impressive, and I don't know how you felt coming into this one, but I didn't expect any sort of nerves on A&M's side, especially. Jamie Morrison, a very experienced coach. It will be upheld. It's Colorado State's point. But Morrison, a guy that all he's done in his career, no matter where he's been, whether that's the national team level, assistant coaching, this is his first college head coaching job, but all he's done is win.
And he's talked a lot about how the SEC prepared them for this gauntlet, right? He said every game is like an NCAA tournament game. Played Texas earlier this year in front of 10,000 people, so they've had experience in these environments.
2-0 run for the Rams, a nice read that time for Herman to let that fall out of play. And all that said about Texas A&M, the Rams, well, they're back to within 4. Seemed like they kind of got hit by a tsunami in the opening couple of points. There's a service error. They get a point right back to the Aggies, though.
They seem light. Like Yoshimoto, like a lot of times in these situations, you'll see a player kind of cringe after. She was smiling. She kind of went, my bad. And I appreciate that. You have to keep it light to stay in these types of matches mentally.
Well, it goes back to your point, the experience that Colorado State has. They realize that it's a long match, and even if you start slow in the first, you can work your way back. Lednicki, a nice job to dig that out, keep it alive. Herman in center, it's blocked, sent back. Rams keep it alive this point. And it's Helmuth. And again, it's just a relentless block party for Texas A&M so far. Their size playing a factor, but it will ultimately go Colorado State's way.
The Colorado State just staying in it, continuing to fight. We talk about that experience. 5 fifth-year seniors in the rotation for Emily Cohen, as we'll take another look at that one.
In a program that has the rich history of NCAA tournament success, it's important to note that all these seniors for Colorado State, this is their first trip to the tournament. And Coach Cohen was telling us that's why this is so special. It's so special to go there with this group that she's been around. That's out of play. The momentum firmly on the side of the Rams right now. They're back to within 3.
Yeah, she talked a lot about it. Like when so many of these fifth-year seniors came into the program, she was living a different life than she is now. I think she was saying she was single and now married. Like it's kind of amazing the experiences you have when players stick around that long, which is rare in the transfer portal age.
Not only that, but now she's a mother as well. As a nice response, Helmuth was able to get a nice swing on that ball from this near side. A&M needed a point back there to kind of quell down the momentum, and they're able to find it.
I think Helmuth, representative of the depth of this Texas A&M team, right? You think of her maybe the fourth option, and she is a monster. 11 of 12, 10-plus kill outings in SEC play this year. She's been so good. There's
a ace right back at you, and it will be walk to remain back there. Going back to the point on Helmuth, that consistency she brings. 10-plus kills in 14 matches this year. I mean, she is just that ever-consistent player for Texas A&M. Their lead's back to 5. And that was played perfectly. Malaya Jones, the Mountain West Player of the Year, and that was a heady play for the Star.
Yeah, cut shot that time, and it's the exact same thing we talk about Lednicki, right? When you have that arm and you're a freshman, you're like a wild horse out there, right? You just want to run free, learning to take some speed off it, learning to manipulate a defense. That's all in Malaya Jones' bag as a fifth-year senior.
It was Brune back to serve for the Rams. Lednicki using that big left hammer. And it's Lednicki denying Jones. Kazapalo was there as well. The 2 stars for A&M come through.
Yeah, it's something we emphasize with Lednicki. Her defense getting much better. Kazapalo, we haven't gotten to talk about a lot yet, but I mentioned it earlier. Led the entire nation in blocks last season. 1.62 per set. That was a school record. This season, I don't know, first team All-SEC. She's been amazing. Only a junior somehow.
Yeah, decent year, I'd say still.
Not too bad.
It's tapped that time. Kazapala, nice job. Fleet of foot to keep that alive. Kind of a miss hit, and it will be another point for Texas A&M that will take us to a timeout on the floor. The 6th-seeded Aggies looking strong in the early going through a couple of waves of momentum. They're on top by 6 here in Tempe. 400 mark so far. The Aggies, led by Jamie Morrison, as we said, made the NCAA tournament in both seasons. Last year, crashing out against the eventual national champion Texas Longhorns. But a very strong start to his tenure in College Station. You get the sense it's only going to continue to get better and better for Coach Morrison and the Aggies.
Yeah, I mean, I love his approach. He talked about his Olympic experience, of course, coaching the men's team to a gold, coaching the women's team twice to a silver and a bronze as an assistant, now leading the U19 team to a gold. He said he knows what the standard is, he knows what it looks like, he knows the skills you have to master, and his goal is to get his players to that standard.
Again, the block party for A&M was there, but they couldn't quite get that back in play. Led Nikki along with Kazapala. And a point for the Rams out of the timeout. We mentioned Texas A&M hitting at 400 so far. Colorado State now at 050. So it's been a struggle so far for the Rams.
It is a testament to the little things Colorado State is doing that this isn't worse.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And a service ace will help out. Get the Rams back to within 4. For Colorado State, though, obviously things do need to change in terms of their hit percentage as the game goes on. Are there any signs of life that you've seen so far?
I think it starts with your defense, right? If you're able to get a clean dig, it can set up some offense. The issue early on for Colorado State and right there is they are just delivering free balls to Texas A&M because they're doing everything they can to stay alive right now.
Yeah, they're peppering the Rams really on that back line so far, and there has been overall struggles for the Rams to battle against Texas A&M's attack. Service here for Ava Underwood, and it will be an error to get the Rams a point right back. 16-12 here in set number 1. Texas A&M in front. Malaya Jones to serve. Helma tried to dig that out, ranging over in front of her own bench. That time was Lednicki. And that was a beautiful dump right in center. It's Emery Herman.
Yeah, we've seen her do that twice, and it was the same thing we were talking about on the Texas A&M side of things. When you are a great passer, you're going to have that dump as a weapon. Herman using it beautifully that time.
If you're a great passer, regardless of sport, you've got to be composed. And that was the first thing Emily Cohen said when describing her game, just her composure. Played across court, and it was out of play. So some momentum here for Colorado State. Suddenly, they're back to within 2.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado State just benefiting from Texas A&M. They've been really aggressive. They've mostly succeeded with that aggression that time, pushing it just a touch too far.
The size for the Aggies is going to be a storyline all night long. Already 4 blocks for Texas A&M, but so far, Colorado State's been heady. There, able to lay off another ball was Yoshimoto. And and just like that, rather, in a snap of a finger, it's a 1-point game, and Texas A&M will have to take a timeout. So how about the response here for Colorado State?
Yeah, it's been, I think you used the word in regard to Emery Herman. I would use it to describe the whole team. It's composure, right? They are not being reactionary. Sometimes when you are struggling and it's do or die, and for so many of these players, could potentially be the last game of their career, the fact that they are not overplaying the ball, Jamie Morrison said in terms of blocking, the key is being not overreactive. And Colorado State has mastered that so far. They are gauging each ball. The vision's been good. They played a really clean game defensively, especially of late.
Pretty even in terms of side-out percentage so far. 53% for A&M, 50% for Colorado State. But we knew this Rams team was going to be tough. They have a bunch of great talent on this team, individual award winners throughout. I mean, take a look at the Mountain West Awards they racked up. Of course, we already talked about Malaya Jones winning Player of the Year, but Newcomer of the Year and Emery Herman, and then all-conference honorees coming out the backside as well. 3 Mountain West all-conference players.
What blows my mind is for so many of these girls, they've done it for multiple years. You look at someone like Kennedy Stanford. She was all-conference as a freshman and sophomore. Honorable mention last season. Comes back all-conference again this year, right? This is years and years of dominance. Karina Lieber.
Again, where experience comes into play for Colorado State. Malaya Jones back to serve as the timeout is over. Underwood was able to hit off to the near side, tapped right down center, and we're tied at 16.
And Herman, you look at the hit percentage on the year. Again, it's not necessarily on volume, less than a kill percent, but she's hitting .357. So when she decides to go, she is effective.
It's a 10-3 run now for the Rams.
And you see Herman every time diverting last second.
And now Colorado State out in front. An ace for Malaya Jones. 33rd ace of the year for Jones. And really out of nowhere, Colorado State out in front.
It's a testament to the work Jones put in. Defense, serving, she's a complete player.
She'll try to do it again. The Aggies trying to rally after it looked like for a while It's going to be all A&M in that first set. Right after an ace, there's a service error on Jones, so you give it, you take it away. And it's back to Texas A&M.
But again, that's kind of the gamble that Emily Cohen's taken. Same concept in basketball. You shoot a lot of threes if you're the underdog, trying to create variance, being aggressive in your service. I really like the philosophy, knowing you're the underdog coming in.
Yeah, both these teams talked about being smart on the service line, but also being aggressive. That's a key for both. They play it to Jones with a big swing. Dug out nicely by Underwood. Now played back over by Humphrey. Underwood able to keep this alive for A&M. Humphrey again. It's met and kept alive. Great diving play by Doty. Nice rally here for this ever important point as we're tied at 17, and Humphrey will win it for the Aggies. Big time swing for the junior from Byron Center, Michigan.
You just feel over time, if Texas A&M can defend long enough, their power wins out. Eventually they land a hit that Colorado State can make a great play on, but it will lead to a free ball, and then A&M has the heavy hitters to take advantage of it.
Margot Manning back to serve for the Aggies. Stanford was denied by the net, and it goes back to Texas A&M.
Yeah, trying for a back row attack that time, just mistimed her leap a little bit, did not hit the ball at its apex, and because of that, didn't have the angle to get it over.
So it is 3 straight points for the Aggies. They're back on top by 2. Another timeout taken, this time by Colorado State, trying to quell the momentum of Texas A&M, I should say. It's been back and forth in terms of momentum in this first set, and frankly, Gavin, I'm not surprised about that, considering both these teams, first off, they're winners, they're very experienced, but also their styles are so similar.
Yeah, and I think it's fascinating how we've got here, right? You look at the hit percentage, it's evened up a little bit. A&M at 273, Colorado State still hitting under 100, just a 77 hit percentage right now, where they've made up for it. 3 aces, 8 digs. Their defense has been really solid, but they're almost pulling a magic trick on A&M because you just watch the tape. You don't know the score. You think A&M was up maybe by 6 or 7 right now.
We told you about the all-conference honorees for Colorado State. We now look for Texas A&M. Of course, the SEC is super conference now with 16 schools in it, but Lednicki and Kazapala, both first-team All-SEC, and that says a lot considering the amount of talent in this league. 9 teams in the tournament, as we talked about, powerhouses such as Texas as well. So it says a lot about Lednicki and Kazapala.
Yeah, and I don't know how Morgan Perkins didn't make that team. The Oklahoma transfer, we said it, leading the entire conference in hitting efficiency this year. So that's
the rest of this tournament, but into next year as well. Manning stayed back to serve. They play down line. It's out of play. Nice job reading that ball by Underwood. And it's the Aggies who fell behind for the first time. They've responded with a 4-0 burst.
Yeah, Karina Lieber, that time, I don't even want to say a freshman mistake because it was a well-hit ball, but just couldn't quite keep it in.
So Manning remains back there, sophomore from Houston. And now she's got an ace. So she's been a weapon back there for Texas A&M. Margot Manning came into this match with just 5 aces on the season, but she timed those up perfectly. And now Texas A&M, crucially the first to 20, and now just 4 points away from taking the first.
And I think what we're seeing from Texas A&M now is a microcosm of how they played all year. Lose to LSU in 5 sets, come back and beat them on senior day. Lose to Texas at home, really disappointing. They head to Austin, they end the Longhorns 80-match home conference winning streak, right? This is a team that is defined by their resiliency. Colorado State lands a big punch. They go on that 11-3 run. A&M, what is it now, 5 of the last 6 points.
Right.
They have been sublime, fighting their way back, and it's not necessarily with power, it's with their IQ. They've come back, and now they're in great position to win set 1.
Well, you mentioned overcoming adversity, and that has been Texas A&M's really story since that 3-game losing streak, as you mentioned. When we talked to Coach Morrison about that, he said, well, yeah, we overcame adversity, but then we're also learning how to overcome adversity in the middle of a set, righting the ship. And that's exactly what has happened here in the first.
And he said it was a lot of cleaning up fundamentals. He said during that 4-game losing streak, if I'm remembering correctly, the quote was, we did a lot of things right, we just didn't do those things right often enough. And they've just upped the consistency. And the word I think of is mental toughness, right? Obviously it's practice, obviously it's learning those fundamentals, but it's mental toughness to do the right thing over and over and over again. That's how you win NCAA tournament games. That's how you eventually win championships.
Both these sides had won 4 in a row coming into this, so both teams feeling good about themselves, as everyone is at this time of the year. Here in the NCAA tournament, you're playing very good volleyball. So it again will be Manning to remain back there, coming off that ace. Rams out of timeouts. A&M with one remaining still. Another solid serve from Manning. Herman will set the center. It's denied, and there is the fifth block of the opening set for Texas A&M. And yet again, this time it was Morgan Perkins.
Yeah, Humphrey in the vicinity as well, just building that wall in front of the net. A lot of height there. Perkins, 6'1", Humphrey, 6'3". Colorado State cannot match up that time.
The twin towers there in center. Almost another ace. It is, in fact. And how about this stretch for Margot Manning? She's been back there for a while. The former top 150 recruit coming out of high school. Fourth in the SEC last year in service aces. And she has been excellent back there for the Aggies here in this stretch. Finally, the Rams able to get a point back, though.
I think that number that you cited is crazy. 6 on the season now. 33% of her season ace production came on the last 4 points. That is wild. I mean, you talk about stepping up. That is stepping up for the sophomore.
Yeah, the stats carry over into the tournament, but in a way, you can reset everything to 0. Everyone's record no longer matters. And for Margot Manning, she stepped up in a big-time spot. Rams not out of it yet, though, in this first set. Lednicki was able to quell that, keep it alive. Underwood back over. And it will be a point in center. That's a heady play, that time by Herman.
Third time she scored on a dump in this first set. A&M, you got to expect Jamie Morris and his staff going to make the adjustment. Right now, she's taking it for all it's worth.
Use it until you lose it. 4-point Texas A&M advantage. Humphrey with a big-time swing. And it will be Texas A&M serving on set point.
And Colorado State, they've just been a little sloppier defensively. We saw it on the 2 aces. We saw it that time. The initial touch, not quite as good as it was during that run. That's what brought them back, and they've lost that a little bit. You credit A&M, though. They're hitting the ball really well.
Thumbs up in the air. Gig'em Aggies has served that time. Keep it alive. That's a big swing, and they keep the Rams alive. How about Malaya Jones putting some velo on that one?
Yeah, look, we talk about calibrating. We talk about taking some heat off it. You're down to your last point. Swing for the fences, baby, and that is exactly what Jones did there.
Yeah, there was nothing left in the tank on that swing. As Yoshimoto will try to continue this first set. She will not. Service error on Yoshimoto's second time of that first set. She was just a little too heavy on things. And it's Texas A&M taking the first, 25-20. And the Aggies look strong. A little bit of a blip in the middle of that set, but overall, big-time performance for Texas A&M as they hit it at a 292 clip and come up with 5 blocks in that opening set. Gavin Shaw will have us in the second set. It's Texas A&M on top here in Tempe.
Anyways, we open up with Texas A&M, and it is Maddie Walk, who's been excellent this year in service, 20 aces on the season. We mentioned her season passing the ball, the LSU transfer, 5th in the SEC in assists, and she'll get to work here as Texas A&M tries to take a commanding 2-0 lead. But first, it's chopped over by Maria Brune, the freshman, having an excellent season. Now Helmuth. Back set, and there's the power. Oh, a vicious hit by Malaya Jones, preserved initially by Texas A&M, but they cannot keep it up. Colorado State strikes first.
Yeah, very similar to what we saw from Jones in that last point. Colorado State was able to score in that first set. You could tell she just took all reserves off. Big-time swing.
So now it's Emery Herman, who is so effective, dumping the ball in the first set. A&M will have a shot at it here. Walk, somehow kept alive by the libero Yoshimoto, and now Colorado State retaliates. Here's A&M, back set, coming up high and pumping it with Tatum Thomas, and A&M will have the point.
Something I'm looking at early on in set number 2, Gavin, the response for Colorado State. As we said, statistically speaking, let's be frank here, they've been outplayed so far by Texas A&M, I should say. How are they able to respond? Can someone else get the job done besides Malaya Jones? That's something I'm looking at here early on in set number 2.
And here's Helmuth. And do they have the raw power? Texas A&M athletically looking like they were on another level. I believe it was a net violation that time against Lednicki. Lednicki saying the arms are straight up. I didn't touch it. And you wonder, Jamie Morrison, a successful challenge in the first set. Does he burn one early here?
Well, just judging off the reaction from the A&M bench and the coaching staff, they are incensed by that. I don't know if we're going to see a challenge or not, but certainly that was a call that the Aggies vehemently disagreed with.
Maria Brun, this is her specialty. 40 aces on the year. That is the most of anyone playing in the 2 games today. So here we go. Herman lobs it up, and nearly putting it down was Stanford. We haven't said her name a whole bunch lately. Free ball for Colorado State here. What will they do with it? Dunked over. Was it a palm, though? I think that was the call against Weathers.
And it was a great attempt that time by Weathers, trying to be quick on that play. Tried to really get away with that, but a nice spot that time by our main official.
And I think a shame, Braden, because Colorado State, look, she's in perfect position. I don't think she had to grip the ball that way.
No, she certainly didn't. It was a bit of a high set that time, but we know that Weathers can climb the ladder, and right on cue, she's able to respond.
Yeah, that you hear the term self-correcting a lot. That was self-correcting. We haven't said her name a whole lot. She's 3rd in the country this year in hit percentage, 449. Almost half of her hits go for kills. An example there.
Yeah, this much better in terms of the set that time. Beautiful job by Emery Herman. And a big-time swing by Weathers.
Jordan Tynsky not able to pull it off that time, but she's a cool name. When she gets a point, we will bring it up if she does. Colorado State doing a much better job handling the power, able to get it to Jones. Jones goes finesse, somehow dug up by Taylor Humphrey. And now free ball for Colorado State. Herman trying to dump it over, but did she hit the net?
So far for Colorado State in this second set, it's really just been gifting Texas A&M points. They've been the aggressor in terms of their attack, Colorado State that is, but the points that Texas A&M has scored so far, it's been a mistake for the Aggies overall. The Rams, I should say. That's a pretty easy call.
So here's Manning, starring at the end on the service line, and there's some power by Jones. It was too hot to handle for Manning, nearly too hot to handle for my new laptop, which was nearly destroyed.
You didn't turn around, partner. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You're sitting here at courtside.
It was as if it went into the crowd and they said, I don't want this, and chucked it at my head. A shocking amount of power on the reverb. Anyways, it's Malaya Jones. Hopefully we're safe. And that's a big-time hit by Taylor Humphrey. That's the first time Texas A&M, I think, has controlled a Colorado State hit and gotten to get into their power game.
Yeah, that looked much more like what we saw in that first set. Really, the attack for Colorado State didn't really look like it rattled A&M at all. Nice job keeping that point alive. And then, yeah, you mentioned just the power going across court that time. Taylor Humphrey showing what she can do.
Yeah, I believe a little cut shot that time from Humphrey. And again, for A&M, it is power hitter on power hitter on power hitter. That time, a little too much power for Ellie Stinson, point to the Rams. So here comes Kennedy Stanford. We mentioned honored all 4 seasons she's played at Colorado State by the Mountain West Conference. She is just a paradigm of consistency. And not consistent enough on that serve. A little long that time, so A&M will get it back.
Yeah, and these service errors, I know we touched on this really early on, Gavin, but for Colorado State especially, we keep talking about the horsepower and the brute force that A&M has. If you're Colorado State, you can't be gift wrapping points like that.
Yoshimoto bumps it up. This one up and over by Brun. Akpalo. And wow, what a diving save by Yoshimoto. Retaliation by Helmuth. Too long, Colorado State notches one.
That's the fight Colorado State needs to come back in this second set, ultimately win this match. That right there, the grittiness, laying out on the floor. There were 3 Rams on the ground at one point, and that is exactly what Emily Cohen is asking her squad to go ahead and give effort-wise, point in and point out.
Yoshimoto 2 service errors in set 1 that time. Perfectly clean, setting up Lednecki, met by the block of Stanford. Tapped up, perfect opportunity for McIntosh. And now dumped over by Walk. Colorado State, though, on top of it. And that was an interesting attempt by Jones. She thought no one for A&M was in that area, but just sailed out of play.
Yeah, sometimes overthinking a little bit. Obviously, Malaya Jones, a phenomenal player. Who am I to question what she's thinking at any given time, but not quite executed properly there.
Maddie Walk, this is actually her second NCAA tournament appearance, made it as a freshman for LSU, losing the second round to Stanford. Now Jones says, I'm going to go back to my bread and butter, little power. Helmuth, and that is going to go every time.
That's why Emily Helmuth averages nearly 3 kills per set. I mean, that is nearly impossible to dig out. The angle, the way she's able to elevate, just going straight down the big-time hammer.
West Coast Conference freshman of the year, rather, in 2022. She can bring it. A&M handles the power from Jones. Helmuth rising up. Brune, I believe, yet to score so far. Tapped up and over. Colorado State had the answer and a celebration for Weathers.
Really impressive. Strong hands that time for Weathers. Just kind of being able to get past that back line. It would sagged in for the Aggies. Take a look at Weathers here in the center of your screen. And just barely able to navigate it past Ellie Stinson.
So here comes Emery Herman. Off the mark that time. A reminder, this is the first of 2 matches here in Arizona State. We'll have the hosts next time up. The Sun Devils at 27-2, the 3rd seed here in the Arizona State Regional, as they will play New Hampshire, a team that pushed Texas A&M to 5 sets earlier this season. Winners will play tomorrow at 6:30. And here's Jones coming from the back line, off the mark.
Yeah, you mentioned that second match coming up. New Hampshire already here. They're heading towards their locker room as we speak. But fun thing about this regional, Gavin, is you could really make an argument for all 4 teams. You mentioned New Hampshire almost beat Texas A&M early. They have the talent, even though they're the biggest underdog here. Anyone could win this regional.
Saw Colorado State beat Colorado. Common opponent with Arizona State. There are arguments you can make for each one. Is Naima Weathers. Can I say the weather is heating up? Is that too? That's too easy. No. Don't. I got to do better than that.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
I'll keep it going. Maria Brune. Again, she is just a monster. Has a wicked serve, is the way Emily Cohen described it. Finesse for Jones. Diving preservation sets up Lednicki. Colorado State played pinball with that heater from Lednicki.
Yeah, you mentioned it was finesse for Jones. Well, for Lednicki, it was more like a jackhammer with the way she crushed that ball. Big-time velo off that left hand.
Top 15 all-time in Texas A&M, and kills likely to move into the top 5 all-time in a single season today. Just needed 12 coming in. Stinson set it up, and Colorado State put it down.
Again, it's Weathers who's having herself a second set to remember so far. She's looked like a different player based on what we saw in that first set, and this is what Colorado State expects from Weathers. Set and point every single time. I mean, that's just a thing of beauty, exactly how you draw it up. And Weathers, another experienced player, as we said, playing in her home state, Colorado Springs native.
All 3 of her kills coming in this second set, hitting 400 for the game, but Texas A&M has Logan Lednicki. You said it, the jackhammer.
6 kills now for Lednicki. Just another day at the office for her so far. I was so excited to watch her play in person because you watch someone in their past games, that's great. You look at their stats, you respect them, but to see the way she's able to elevate, and then just the brute force, like we said, the jackhammer coming in with that heavy left hand, it's so impressive.
Margot Manning barely handling it was Doty. Up and over from Yoshimoto. And then cross court, nothing to do with that. Taylor Humphrey did the step. She started walking away before it landed.
She's got some swagger like step as well. You're exactly right. She knew that was successful right when she made contact.
And you know what, Braden, when you're hitting 500 on the day, you can watch it, and say, yep, that's going. So Colorado State down by 3, needing an answer. Did Jones keep it in? She did.
That's phenomenal. I mean, that is exactly why Malaya Jones is who she is, nearly 5 kills per set. And as we said, I mean, she's an elite arm. I don't care what conference you're in. I don't care if you're mid-major, high-major. Malaya Jones is exceptional.
Transfer from that great USC program, left the same year. Arizona State coach J.J. Van Niel did, as Yoshimoto able to dig that ball out. What will A&M do with it? Plenty of options. Lednicki from the back row, denied. Stanford got up and put it down.
Coming to play, Kennedy Stanford. I know we said she stepped up her game in this second set, but she's continuing to elevate. How about this? Speaking of elevation, getting up high. Rams didn't have a single block in that first set, 2 now in the second.
Her head coach, Emily Cohen, describes her as incredibly springy. We saw it for the first time there, and dumped over by Herman. That one was a little nasty. It wasn't just soft, put some backspin on it.
Yeah, there was some English on that from Emery Herman. You could kind of see that playing out, especially after that last big-time point by Jones. Herman with a heady play.
We said Colorado State down by 3, has to find an answer. They have 3 points in a row. Will Texas A&M respond? Dumped over that time by Maddie Walk. And Lieber not able to get all of it, but still squeaks in for a Colorado State point. 4 in a row now for the Rams.
Lieber kind of just puckered the lips after that. You could tell that isn't exactly what she wanted to do, but you know what? Sometimes you just shrug it off. You mentioned Steph earlier. Sometimes Steph's known to just shrug after nailing a shot, and Karina Lieber that time, look, sometimes better to be lucky than good.
I'll keep making cross-sports analogies. That is bowling. You were sure you were going to get a gutter ball, and it just somehow turns back middle, and you were just willing. You're saying, come on, and it worked. A little wiping of the court. Again, Texas A&M comes in this one 19-7 on the season, winners of 4 in a row. We mentioned just some big-time wins over the course of the year, beating Oklahoma, 9 NCAA tournament teams in total, ending Texas's 80-match home winning streak in conference play. That's ridiculous. It's just been a great season in year 2 for Jamie Morrison.
Well, if you're going into the NCAA tournament from the SEC, you have some big wins. It's impossible not to, as great as that conference is. And certainly, yeah, the Aggies, they're battle-tested.
Program with a rich history as that ball goes long, so A&M gets off the schneid. Their 27th all-time appearance. They've been to 2 Elite Eights, 6 Sweet 16s, got to those Elite Eights in 1999 and 2001. So it's been a while in College Station since they've advanced far. Jamie Morrison thinks this group is capable of those kinds of heights.
Yeah, and certainly in terms of their talent, they are.
Ellie Stinson. And here's Jones, and that one going right back to us. I turned around this time. It's batted back, and I am saved by a very kind man who tucked it away. But I learned my lesson. I looked back. Anyways, we're tired.
There should be a GoPro just on you. I think that's equally. Put it in the top right box.
Yeah. And here's Weathers. Dug out by Helmuth. Now A&M after a quick block. It's to Lednicki. Took some speed off the ball. And dumped again by Herman. I keep saying it. It keeps working. She has 5 of those now.
She's a force at the net when she dumps, and that has been the name of her game so far in this one. 6 kills already for Emery Herman. Right place, right time. She's smart with it. She knows when to go ahead and go with the dump. And so far in this one, well, it's been consistent, dumping her way to a Colorado State 2-point advantage.
Texas A&M taking set number 1, 25-20. Colorado State, though, looking to even it up at 1 apiece. They're up 15-3, Braden Bell. Where my eyes go, there was that big gap in hit percentage in set 1. This set, A&M 196, Colorado State 161, keeping it closer, and their supplemental game is giving them the lead.
Well, we looked at the stats right at the end of that first set. You mentioned the hit percentage. That's exactly right. We also talked about the blocks. 5 for A&M in that first set, 0 so far in the second. For Colorado State, they didn't have any in that first set, 2 so far in set number 2. So they've swung it back around. And that is a beautiful serve.
Naima Weathers, 3 kills and now an ace. The 4-time All-Mountain West performer, or excuse me, Kennedy Stanford that time. Her 22nd ace on the year. Stanford again. This time set up to Helmuth. Helmuth just keeping it in, towing the line.
Yeah, you said it best, towing the line. I mean, that's pinpoint precision. A&M kind of waning a little bit. You get the sense, the momentum right now on Colorado State's side. And have a look at this. Just a beautiful swing that time. And the junior, Helmuth, got it done.
Looking to retaliate. Colorado State, Maria Brune up on that front line and bringing some heat.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Certainly Brune is someone maybe doesn't get the same amount of praise, especially as like a Malaya Jones or even a Kennedy Stanford, but she is important. And if Colorado State's going to win this, she's going to have to play at her best.
Took over that Central Arkansas game, is not a starter at the beginning of the year, and she's been playing great. That one nearly killed Yoshimoto, but it was worth it. Sacrificing her body, and then it's paid off by Emery Herman down that right sideline.
And her bench just exploded. That is why they love Kate Yoshimoto. She's not the biggest player on the floor. In fact, she's the smallest, standing at just 5'2", but she plays big. very tough competitor out of Honolulu, Hawaii, and what an effort here. You mentioned, I mean, this is coming in hot, and it's Yoshimoto laying it out on the line and ultimately setting up what turned into a nice little stab that time by Herman to get the point back. But that's what it is for Colorado State. It's the ultimate team game, and plays like that for Yoshimoto, stepping up, a starter for the last 3 years, as we said. I mean, that's why this team, you could tell they love her. They love her effort.
Almost like a shortstop out there, just covers so much ground. We talked about when you're trying to block, not being overreactive. Yoshimoto, so good at tracking the ball and getting there. And how about Emery Herman, right? You don't see that. We'll talk about it next round with Arizona State and Argentina Ung, but you typically don't see that kind of power from a setter. Herman packing a punch that time.
Herman, how about this? 7 kills already. I mean, the way she's been able to get the job done, and we've talked at length already about her dump game so far and how strong that's been, but 7 kills and you're hitting at a 778 percentage. I mean, she's well on her way to a double-double already, 15 assists, of course, as you'd expect. But for Texas A&M here, they're kind of back on their toes a little bit, back on their heels, I should say. Colorado State, give them a lot of credit. In the first set, it was A&M that threw the first few punches. Colorado State had to respond. Ultimately, they did, but then A&M was able to run away. In this second set, it's been a different story. It's been Colorado State as the aggressor. They've been the one dictating tempo, dictating kind of how things played out so far. Be interesting to see if Jamie Morrison's bunch can swing that around here.
Emery Herman on the season is hitting under 100. She averages about 3.5 kills a match. 7 so far. We are not through set number 2. She is a Texas native, and she is stepping up against the Aggies. A&M looking to respond, and they go to their most effective player so far. It continues to be Emily Helmuth.
You know, when you need a point, you got to ride the hot hand, and that was a great strategy out of the timeout. Helmuth, like you said, she's looked great so far tonight. Very comfortable. 11 of 12, 10-plus kill outings game in league play. As you said, this stage is not too big for her.
Here's Maddie Walk. Jones just tapping it over. Back set by Lednicki. Oh, could not quite keep it in. Would have been a genius shot. Instead, Colorado State back up by 4.
Always so important, as we say, to get to that 20 mark first. I don't know if it's just a mental thing or what, but for Colorado State right here, this is a big point.
And there's just a sense of urgency that comes in on both sides. Here's Helmuth again, this time from the back row out of play, and Colorado State does get to 21st.
Yeah, not only are they up by 5 here, but they, as we said during that last time out, they just look to be in control. They just look comfortable. They were a little bit staggered, a bit rattled in that first set. Not the case here.
Emery Herman has played every second of every match for this Colorado State team. She's reliable. That's some heat from Lednicki. Able to survive it. Stanford will just pump it up and over. Back set, Helmuth kept alive. One of the better rallies we've had so far. Who will win it? Crucial point, and it's Jones off the deflection. Colorado State 4 away from taking the second set.
You know what? Jones is going to get credit for the kill there, but I'm going to go back to my new favorite player, number 18 in white. How about Yoshimoto, rather, able to really step up yet again? I just love the effort she plays with. Just a tenacious competitor. Nice job keeping that point alive in 2 separate occasions. Ultimately got the assist that time to Jones, who killed it.
Out of the Punahou School in Honolulu, Hawaii. We mentioned the whole team took a trip, got to do karaoke at her family's house. Heart and soul of this team, and she left it to the power of this team in Malaya Jones.
Makes you wonder, what's that karaoke song? What's her karaoke song, Yoshimoto? We should have asked that.
Yeah, that was a logical follow-up. You know what? If that is our promise. If Colorado State wins, we will get in touch and we will find out. I don't even want to guess because Yoshimoto pulls out surprises every time, but it has been such a strong second set for Colorado State, right? The way A&M was rolling early, it just had the look of a 3-set sweep, right? A team that was physically superior, playing at their best, the most important time of the year. And instead, we talk about the experience in Colorado State, unfazed, and look at the way they've responded.
Well, they've come out in the second set with the eye of the tiger. That's what they've done, right? There's a little karaoke reference for you. But no, I think certainly you weren't expecting Colorado State to roll over, and the excitement this program had. I mean, you could just hear it in the voice of Emily Cohen when we talked to her. To have these seniors, and it is a senior-laden group, as we've already touched on, to have the opportunity now to play in this tournament at this stage against a program like Texas A&M, you knew they weren't going to just roll over, but I'm very impressed with the response they came out with here in the second. It would have been easy to kind of maybe be a bit intimidated. You see the hammers that A&M hasn't been the case for the Rams.
The two words that we heard Emily Cohen use, brave and ambitious, they have embodied that in this second set. Can A&M find a response? Walk, Lednicki, that is where you go when you are struggling if you're Texas A&M.
Yeah, we said that when they went through Helmuth, but really that's been the problem for A&M so far in this second set. If it hasn't been Helmuth or occasionally Lednicki, there just really hasn't been much else to go as far as their attack. Colorado State, if you remember, gave them some points in the early going. Really the first 3 points for Texas A&M.
Lednicki really hot early in set 2. Hadn't heard her name in a while. Now a service error from Helmuth, who had been misreliable. And Colorado State just 3 away. So it's McIntosh, or excuse me, no, it's still Maria Brune. We mentioned with 40 aces on the season. Picks up another there, 41.
Yeah, 41 and counting, and you get the sense whether Colorado State's able to move on or not, those numbers will continue to grow. I mean, she's just so good back there on the service line, so confident as well.
Keep in mind, this is a freshman described by Emily Cohen, and this is a direct quote, as a cool little cucumber, does not get phased by the stage. Here's Humphrey, bumped up by Herman, and just tapped over, brilliantly done by Jones, taking some power off, calibrating that one perfectly.
You mentioned cool as little cucumber. How about the finesse? That's cool as a cucumber. Malaya Jones, you know she draws the attention of defense that time. Very, very nicely done.
You know, when you're dressed in all green, the analogy, it really carries. Here's Brune looking for her 3rd straight point off of service. Walk, Lednicki. Not that time. Really nice work by Stanford to take some of the heat off. And then Stanford finishes. Set point in set 2 for Colorado State.
And that was domination for the Rams. I mean, 25-16, and I don't know if that necessarily does it justice. That was a big-time statement for the Colorado State Rams.
We talk about the hitting discrepancy in set 1. A&M dominated set 2. Colorado State hitting 226. A&M hitting 179. And
waiting on the 3rd set here in Tempe, Arizona. Colorado State, Texas A&M tangled in a good one as the Rams and Aggies split the first 2 sets here from Desert Financial Arena. Braden Bell alongside Gavin Schultz. We take a look at our tournament bracket here in the Tempe Regional, and certainly, Gavin, as we said, this one already turning out to be a good one. New Hampshire, Arizona State coming up tonight in the nightcap. Arizona State playing on their home floor, of course, hosting this tournament for the first time since 1995. It's been a historic season for the Sun Devils. They're trying to continue that later tonight.
It's been incredible. 2nd year under J.J. Van Niel. Only 1 loss at home in his 2 seasons, so it's going to be a challenge for a New Hampshire team. That's just 2-7 on the road so far this year, but they played their best against big opponents. We mentioned they took Texas A&M to 5 sets, but we have a great one here, Braden, tied at a set apiece.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun to watch, but let's go back to this one as we take a look at some highlights from our opening 2 sets in this match, and it certainly has been action-packed. Texas A&M, they threw the first punch when we got out of the gates. Colorado State lost that first set 25-20, but the Rams were able to respond in a big way in the second. What have you seen so far through the first 2?
So A&M came out and was physically dominant to the point that you thought this was going to be a 3-set sweep. And then how about the composure, the intestinal fortitude from Colorado State to come back? Naima Weathers, she was really quiet in set 1. She was a monster in set 2, absolutely taking over for this Colorado State side, combining with Malaya Jones for 12 kills. Emery Herman, 7 kills. We mentioned she averages less than 4 a match on the season. It's been everyone stepping up for the Rams.
There's the set 2 stats, and we said it going into the break. Yeah, it was Colorado State to win by 9, but Gavin, to me at least, it felt like a wider disparity. I mean, the hit percentage alone, 387 for the Rams. They dominated that second set.
Yeah, and I talked a lot about offense. Kate Yoshimoto defensively over and over and over again, giving up her body and just taking on the power that Texas A&M brings, right? Whether it's Helmuth, Lednicki, Morgan Perkins, who's been a little bit quiet so far today. There are just so many threats on these Aggies team, and it always starts with Yoshimoto just continually digging the ball out. She had 8 in that second set. That is a ridiculous number against a great offense.
Something to look at moving into this third set. We mentioned at Texas A&M they'd won 4 in a row coming into the NCAA tournament. They had lost just 2 sets over that 4-game winning streak. How do they respond to a little bit of adversity? Because let's be frank, they were just punched in the mouth by this Colorado State squad. Both sides have a good amount of fans here on hand, but certainly for the Aggies, they're hoping to get those who are dressed in maroon something to cheer about as we get ready to jonder into set number 3.
It's something that Jamie Morrison has emphasized a lot. He said their passing skyrocketed after that 4-match losing streak, but that starts with how you handle the initial hit, right? Getting a clean dig, getting a clean gather of the ball, and just setting your teammates up for success. First set, it wasn't much of an issue because they had so many free balls. As Colorado State started hitting it better, it becomes even more of a requisite that Texas A&M passes the ball well.
Yoshimoto got us going, who's been excellent as the libero. Kept that alive right on cue. Stanford then, and it's played back over to the Aggies. Set and center. Kazapala, who was really quiet in that second set. Good for the Aggies to get her going early on in set number 3.
So obviously a great play by Yoshimoto to keep it alive, but she had to do so much to keep that ball. It got Colorado State out of system, free ball to A&M, and that's where they're going to have a lot of success, right? When they can set up a little lob, their athleticism is going to take over. Colorado State, outside of Jones, doesn't have anyone like Kazapala.
An early 1-0 lead for Texas A&M. Who can get out in front here in the third? Looking for an infringement, and they will go ahead and call that. So it's an early 2-0 advantage for Texas A&M.
Yeah, 4 touches that time for Colorado State. So A&M coming out looking a lot cleaner, closer to set 1.
Last look, as we said, those 4 touches. Rams will get a point right back, though, on a service error. And for Texas A&M so far, that's their 6th. Both sides with 6 service errors so far in this one.
And that's fascinating, right? Because Colorado State, their game plan coming in was to be a little bit more ambitious in that service game. A&M wanted to be a little bit more conservative, and yet same number of errors.
That was a great serve that really got Texas A&M out of system, as you said, and the Rams able to capitalize off of that. Herman will remain back there for the Rams.
I mean, it's tough between her, Jones, and Yoshimoto, but if you had to give an MVP, you would say Emery Herman so far.
Yeah, but the way she stepped up, as we said a couple of times, with those 7 kills, I don't think the Rams could have ever wished for that to be the case. A service error right back, right on cue, as we're praising Emery Herman, but certainly the Rams absolutely benefiting from one of her best games of the season so far.
Yeah, hitting 778, that is a like blow your mind kind of number.
It's Underwood to serve for A&M. They attack that back line. Humphrey able to set, and it's Lednicki who's able to kill yet again with the left. The southpaw with a strong move.
It is something that is true in all sports. You play defense, right? You eat your vegetables, you get to have fun. They get that ball cleanly, set up Lednicki cleanly. She gets to go high. She gets to pack a punch.
Yeah,
another look at it.
Really nice by Humphrey that time, setting the table as well for the star southpaw. Laying out to try to keep it alive, but it was to no avail. Good effort that time by Taylor Humphrey, but the Rams able to get a point back, to pull back to within 1.
And that's what Colorado State needs from Naima Weathers. I don't think I did a good enough job emphasizing it in set 1. Again, she's 3rd in the nation in hit percentage. She's going to smash the school record in that category. She has to be elite for them to upset Texas A&M.
I thought you did a fine job.
Oh, thank you. I got to work on my self-talk.
They played a center, and it's Weathers yet again right on cue, who's been huge for the Rams in middle. They needed her to step up, especially after that first set where it seemed like the Rams were kind of really being exposed in that area. Not the case since.
She was the separator in set 2. Remember, they were down 12-9. From that point forward, it was a 16-4 run to end set 2.
They played off Humphrey with a finesse play that time. Kept alive in center, Kazapala. She'll swing straight down. She was denied. Lednicki to Humphrey, and it's a block party for the Rams. Guess who yet again? Big time play in middle, and it's Weathers coming through.
Naima Weathers could protect you from herself. She was a one-woman roof that time, setting the block up and finishing.
Rams able to respond after a relatively slow start to this ever-important third set. Lednicki will go down line. It's out of play. And for Colorado State, they're riding the wave right now of a 4-0 scoring run.
It's been fascinating so far because when A&M has time, right, when they get a really clean free ball, they've been dominant. Colorado State doesn't have a lot to do with that. Anything less than that, and the Rams have had the advantage.
Maria Brune back to serve. We've documented how great she is on the service line, but couldn't quite manufacture some magic there. Much needed point for the Aggies to snap that 4-0 run.
It's been a match of runs so far, and A&M now a chance to put together some momentum of their own.
Margot Manning, who had that excellent stretch to close out that first set, back there on the service line for Texas A&M. Manning, who really was a one-man band to help separate the Aggies in the first. Able to dig that out and keep this point alive. It's Humphrey near side, met at the net, and Kazapala to clean up the net and center.
A quiet day offensively so far for Kazapala. Had just one kill in that second set, so it's nice to see her get going again. We focus on her defense, but she's about as good as blocking as anyone in the country. Really effective offensive player. We mentioned that hitting percentage.
Supremely talented, but also the competitive spirit of this Texas A&M team as well. And now the Aggies jolt back in front off a beautiful ace, and guess who it was? Yet again, Margot Manning. Yet again, back on that service line, proving to be quite the weapon.
Yeah, she has had a heck of a day. We mentioned a year ago, 4th in the SEC with 38 service aces, picking up from there.
That's now 3 for Manning. Feels like more, as that will be played on that back line, and that was placed perfectly. A kill for the Rams to knot this thing back up at 7.
Yeah, really great take that time for Colorado State. You see the setup and then the big-time finish for Weathers. She can touch 10-8. She is dunking a basketball if she wants to.
With ease.
Yeah.
At 10-8. Tinsky, we promised we'd talk about her as the game went on. She was back to serve for Colorado State, and there's Jones yet again showing up big.
So didn't get it that time, but I'm just going to jump the gun on this. When she gets an ace, she has a signature celebration that is self-dubbed the Tinsky twirl. A lot of times you'll hear a team radio announcer come up with something like that. She has a future in broadcasting. She's coming up with her own line. She's going to run us out of business.
Nearly got the job done there, and Tinsky, no twirl, but it was still set up beautiful, and it was an ace after all, but she didn't give us the twirl.
Come on, this is the grand stage. You got to pull it out. Show everyone the move. Hopefully this time.
Looking a bit reserved, just a freshman out of Decatur, Texas. And you know all these Texans on this Colorado State team, they're extra motivated. Yeah, it's the tournament, but you're taking on one of the big brands of the state in Texas A&M.
Yeah, and there's always that feeling, right, of, all right, they didn't recruit me. I'm going to show them now.
Humphrey couldn't quite signal that in play. And again, it's all Colorado State carrying on the momentum from that second set. And you can tell Jamie Morrison's feeling that as well, as he just called a timeout. 10-7, Colorado State in front here in the third. An ever-important third set here from Tempe. And it's the Rams, the Mountain West champions, who are playing great volleyball in the early going. They lead by 3 here in the third. Donate. 100% of your donation goes directly to cancer research. Colorado State out in front of Texas A&M, 10-7 here in the third set. First round of the NCAA tournament, the Rams looking to pull off an upset to get this Tempe regional going. They've looked like the stronger team really over the last set and a half now. Aggies looking for some momentum out of the timeout, and they won't find it. It's Jones there tag teaming with Lieber, coming up with a block.
Yeah, Lieber, I mean, that's part of what makes her so special as a freshman. She's incredibly effective off 1 foot at 6'3". One of the longer players they've ever had come into this program, 6'3", big-time wingspan, able to put that point away.
Yeah, that left hand of Lieber placed perfectly. Herman able to keep this alive. Back to Tinsky, and now yet again Jones. More of a finesse swing that time. Humphrey needed it and got it in a big way. Humphrey now with 7 kills.
Look, it's been a theme all day, right? Texas A&M's ability to bounce back from adversity. In volleyball, you have to do it game to game, set to set, point to point, and A&M has to find that right now. As Colorado State, I think there's some real belief, some real momentum on their side.
Yeah, you certainly get the feeling that momentum is on the side of the Rams right now. Aggies trying to win that back as they play to center. There's Lieber. We saw the blocking skills, and that time the big-time 6'3" frame coming up with a solid kill.
I love the word that Emily Cohen used for Lieber on the slide, which you see right there, terminal. That's a crazy word to use, a terminal threat on the slide. She finishes.
Yeah, the buzzwords Cohen describing Lieber. She also just kind of lit up when talking about Karina Lieber and the potential she has with this program. A&M gets a point back on that service error. And back to serve now for Texas A&M. It'll be Morgan Perkins. That was a good serve off the top of the net and a big-time swing that'll be out of play by Jones. She's immediately calling for the challenge, and it looks as though we will get the first coach's challenge issued by the Rams. So Emily Cohen listening to her Mountain West Player of the Year. Why not? And we will get a replay here with the score at 10-12.
Yeah, and I love the trust from Emily Cohen, right? It's not like the NBA. You don't get a chance to go to your bench, look at the replay for 5 seconds, and then make the call. It's a quick decision, and she immediately trusted her senior. And I think knowing, again, even if you don't win it, you get that timeout. You get a chance to check in. You get a chance to make some adjustments. 12 points nearly halfway through this third set. It's kind of a win-win for Cohen.
Hit percentages so far, and it really is wild, Gavin, how things have shifted around so much. We'll get to that in a moment. First, a look at that last play. Not going to really be able to tell anything off of that look, but going back to the hit percentages, A&M hitting under at negative .53 so far. Meanwhile, for Colorado State at .273. So if you're just joining us, it looked like the absolute opposite in that first set. They go ahead and reverse that call, and for Colorado State, they get that point, and that's a big swing. Their lead's now 4.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it. That's another reason why Emily Cohen went for it. 4 feels substantial. 2 feels like A&M is creeping up on you, and the trust in Malaya Jones pays off. But I want to quickly get back to your point. After A&M was so dominant to start, they have exactly one player hitting over 200, and it's Maddie Walk, who has just 1 kill. So basically anyone who's hitting at volume for A&M is not hitting efficiently right now. That's a testament to Texas A&M's defense. It's acknowledging that A&M has to step up if they're going to win this and move on to round 2.
They are certainly on their heels right now against the Rams. Come in with a lot of momentum. Kazapala with the finesse play. They hit it over. Jones was denied. Bodies all over. Great hustle that time by the Aggies, but it's all for naught. Helmuth couldn't locate, and it's the Rams on top by 5.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a timeout from Jamie Morrison, or maybe just yelling out an adjustment, because that was a great play by Kazapala. The issue is when she's the one going for that dig, you lose your heavy hitter in front of the net, and they couldn't play it over.
Just kind of out of rhythm, it seems, for Texas A&M. Just not quite set the way we saw them in the early going, or like what we saw in their last 4 games of the regular season as well.
Yeah, they had a great script to open up. It was I'll use the term again, clinical. Like it was as good as you can draw it up. And since then, they just have not, maybe a point here, point there, they haven't sustainably found that rhythm again.
5-point advantage for the Rams, and it's Kennedy Stanford, who's been a star for Colorado State, to serve. They play it off, Lednicki. They need her to step up in a big way. What about the hustle to keep this point alive? It's Yoshimoto everywhere all at once for the Rams. That's out of play, though, and it's a nice read that time by Underwood, and a much-needed point for the Aggies.
And that's honestly the one thing keeping Texas A&M in this right now is Malaya Jones has about 2 or 3 hitting errors. If not for that, Colorado State would be close to winning this third set.
Yeah, Jones hitting at only 161 so far. Does have double-digit kills, though, with 11. That's dug out nicely by Underwood. They play off to Walk, and now Lednicki with a big-time hammer. Second effort, and she gets it to go that time.
And if she wakes up, everything changes for Texas A&M. But again, it's not really about Lednicki. It's about their defense. If they can play clean, dig it out, pass the ball well, Lednicki's going to cook.
On that back line, out of play. That was a good read by a trio of Rams, including Yoshimoto yet again, and now she'll serve for Colorado State.
You always think about how many hours have these young women put into volleyball in their lives. 10,000, 15,000, and that's where it shows. When you just see a ball coming, 40 miles an hour, and you're like, hey, that's going out.
That's played over by us. Out of play, it's an ace. And the Rams on top by 5 yet again.
It is all Colorado State right now. And you're just wondering, what does A&M need to get it to click?
7 aces now for the Rams, 2 coming from Yoshimoto. Played straight down line, and Lednicki needed it badly. And again with the southpaw, that was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, and Yoshimoto not able to pull A&M out of system. And again, when A&M, when everything goes right, it looks very good.
Just able to get that past the outstretched Emery Herman. It's Stinson to serve for the Aggies. Kept alive nicely. Stanford plays off to that far side again, blocked by Kazapala. Here's the defense intensity you were talking about for the Aggies, and they end up scoring off of it. Humphrey was big alongside Kazapala.
You nailed it. That was all Taylor Humphrey. Herman tried that dump that worked essentially every time, and Humphrey just right on top of it, blocking it right back, saying, I'm tired of seeing that drop. I'm not allowing it. A&M gets the point. They have 2 in a row. They're right back in it.
Yep, right back in it indeed, down by 3. Herman, a quick set. Nice job digging that out, keeping the point alive. Lednicki with a monster kill. 11 now for Logan Lednicki. The Aggies are back to within 2, and a timeout for Colorado State.
So 3 straight points for Texas A&M, and it all starts with Logan Lednicki. Back set on the slide, Lednicki, a laser cross court. Texas A&M coming back.
Sometimes you just got to play through your stars, and certainly the defense stepped up in this 3-0 scoring run with the excellent play by Taylor Humphrey, as we noted, but they're clearly trying to get the ball to Logan Lednicki, and for good reason. What she's been able to do, and we talked about her in the open, her goals, her aspirations. She wants to play in the Olympics, Gavin Shaw, and at certain times tonight, you can certainly see why, and she has the potential to do just that. I mean, we take a look at what she's done tonight, and certainly big-time plays for Lednicki.
I loved what Jamie Morrison said about that goal. He said, it's her goal, so it's my goal. And Lednicki, she has the talent, right? Every time A&M's able to get her a clean set, you just see the variety in her shot making, right? Able to go cross court, able to go straight down with power. But man, she loves that cut shot, going cross court. But
Aggies on that 3-0 scoring run, make it 4-0 as an ace out of the break. That was placed perfectly. Excellent job by Ellie Stinson.
So Texas A&M back within 1, and now the pressure shifts a little bit to the Rams, right? You lose a 3rd set where you have a big lead. That could be backbreaking.
Herman. There's a big-time swing, and that's in play for Malaya Jones. Rams needed that, and they come up to their cash cow for a big-time kill.
And Emily Cohen told us that's what makes Malaya Jones special. So many times as a defense, you see that heavy hitter go to the back row, you relax. You cannot do that with Malaya Jones. Her timing, her hand-eye on those plays, just so clinical.
A dozen kills now for Jones. Lednicki responds. The stars are starting to shine bright, Gavin.
It's about that time, right? I think both of them have a sense of the moment. For Jones, not wanting her career to end. For Lednicki, not wanting her junior season to end. As we get another look here, rising up, out of play, 0 chance on the block for Maria Brune. The angle was just impossible to handle.
Yeah, how would you like to be Maria Brune in that situation? Here's Jones right back at you with finesse. Lednicki keeps it alive. Great effort, and this rally continues. Kazapala was there for a deflection. Lednicki with another kill. It's now 13.
It started with Maddie Walk. She had a diving dig. Lednicki, really tall, getting low to preserve it. Colorado State had a free ball, couldn't take advantage of it, and A&M finished the play.
Whoa, to the Aggies, they have absolutely been revitalized as Logan Lednicki is red hot. Herman, far side swipe. There's Jones yet again. And these two sides, we really shouldn't be surprised, but right now, the offensive attack for both these teams, Jones and Lednicki.
Yeah, before that, it had been 5 unanswered for Texas A&M.
Rams back in the lead, though, after they snapped that run. Lednicki denied. Underwood with a great hustle play to keep it alive. Back we go to Colorado State side. They play far line. It's in. And the Rams jolt back out in front by 2.
And again, starts with their defense. Weathers had all the time in the world to line that ball up, playing it perfectly off the fingertips of the A&M middle.
It's Maria Brune, the freshman out of Barcelona, Spain, back on the service line. That's in play. It's another ace for the Rams. They're 8th, and they're the first to 20 in the third. Timeout, Texas A&M. Brune, who has been exceptional on that back line all year long, coming up in the biggest of stages.
It takes an incredible amount of work to be as good as Maria Brune is on the service line. I mean, that 40 number coming in stood out to me because, again, no one in this game, no one in our next game is even close to that. As a freshman to have that technical ability, she's going to be a weapon for years to come.
Yeah, Brune's someone who, like you said, really didn't get going in the rotation, the regular rotation for Colorado State as this year started, but became a consistent piece. Obviously now what we're seeing now, she is as important as any other Ram in her role. And she knows that role. She's accepted that role and has really excelled in that role as well.
And we said coming in, Emily Cohen said to win, we're going to have to be brave and ambitious on service. You said the number, 8 service aces, and they have kept the errors relatively down, right? 9, I'm okay with that ratio if I'm Colorado State. Those aces are so pivotal because once the ball's in play, not always, but generally, Texas A&M is going to have the advantage, right? They have Lednicki, they have Casapala, those 2 heavy hitters. If you can get aces or you can score points with those 2 never touching the ball, that's a win for the Rams, and they've gotten a bunch of them.
Well, something to note coming out of this timeout as well for Colorado State, they still have Brune back there on the service line, who just came up with that service ace, and she will remain back there. How about Colorado State responding after A&M had scored 5 in a row with 3 in a row right back? We mentioned how it's been a game of runs, and certainly that's how the back half of this third set has played out as well.
And again, it's composure, right? It's going good for Colorado State. It's going bad for Colorado State. The expressions, the emotion, the connectivity doesn't shift.
Brune with another solid serve. They play it off Lednicki, who was denied right back at you, but it was just out of play. And the Aggies able to get a point back.
Well defended that time by Texas A&M, or I should say a good eye that time by A&M to let it go.
Stanford was there finally to deny Lednicki, who will now step out of play. And for the Aggies, it'll be Margot Manning, who's been that weapon in the service line for the Aggies. We keep talking about Brune, but for Texas A&M, she's been that exact kind of weapon. Oh, that's excellent. How about Jones straight down for a hammer?
Yeah, that was with ill intent that time. You don't want to let Malaya Jones line it up like that. Both coaches said it, right? Between her and Lednicki, we're talking about 2 of the best arms in America. Jones flashed all the power you could ever want.
We open the broadcast talking about Malaya Jones and also Logan Lednicki. They've lived up to the hype. Aggies need a point, down by 3, as it's been a run for Texas A&M. They scored 4 of the last 5. Dug out nicely that time by Underwood. Played off Humphrey. Finesse. Herman able to keep it alive. Here's Jones yet again. They score it yet again. Jones is red hot with 15 kills.
Yeah, it's now a 6-1 run for Colorado State, and you said it. We're seeing the best version of Malaya Jones. Her efficiency to 243 right now. This has been easily her best set of the day.
Another ace back there for Tinsky. Nearly came up with it, just kept alive. Tinsky with a solid touch. Played off to that far side. Big time swing by Stanford. Kept alive. Great hustle by the Aggies. They play it again. Stanford finesse. Casapala over to Humphrey. Still alive in front. Ultimately, it will be a point for Texas A&M on the best rally of the night.
And I'm crediting that to Ellie Stinson. Lednicki did a great job to get down, but she didn't even know where the ball went. And you saw Stinson fly in behind her, doing a slide across the floor. It looked like a dance move to save it, and then A&M able to finish it off and earn the point.
So Tatum Thomas, who hails from the Valley of the Sun, Chandler, Arizona, Hamilton High School, 2-time state champ at Hamilton. First time we've called out her name and serving in a key spot. It's a good one. A real good one. It's an ace. How about that? Welcome, Tatum Thomas, to the action.
Yeah, started her college career at Grand Canyon, so a homecoming on multiple levels for Tatum Thomas. Made the NCAA tournament last year, got swept by someone we'll see her next game, Argentina Ung. She's out for some revenge. She wants a shot at Arizona State. She doesn't want it to end here.
Consecutive aces for Thomas. Stepping into the spotlight. no longer a support role. She's a main character here in the third.
And we talked about that advantage on service that Colorado State had. It can go away quickly. Back-to-back aces, very similar to how that set one ended in A&M's favor. And if you're Colorado State, we keep talking about the composure. You have to have it here because they were in control. Now they're out of control. A&M down by just one.
Tatum Thomas, someone that we've talked about, Gavin, in terms of, the role dissipated down the stretch in the regular season. We hadn't mentioned her name once the entire match. She steps up, serving in a key spot, and consecutive aces to pull her team back to within one. That takes a lot of mental fortitude to be able to do that.
And it's a testament to the depth that Jamie Morrison has built in this program. He was talking to us a little bit, and we were talking to him about how 3 of the 4 coaches in this pod are in their second season: Emily Cohen, Jamie Morrison, JJ Van Neal. And he was saying with the transfer portal, you have the ability to rebuild your program a little quicker, when in the past it would take 4 or 5 seasons. 6 of the 12 main rotation pieces for Texas A&M are transfers who've transferred over in the last 2 seasons. Tatum Thomas, is one of them, maybe one of the afterthoughts coming into today. No longer, she's stepping up.
It was fun in all of our chats with all these coaches mentioning the young blood, the new blood. Those second-year head coaches, as you said, 3 of the 4 in this region just in their second year. And you could see beaming with pride, knowing how successful all 3 have been so far.
And my favorite part of that was Chris Feliciano, who we'll see next with New Hampshire. We mentioned that to him, that he was kind of the old guard. He was like, I'm only 44, I'm not old. So he was really having fun with it.
See if Thomas can pull another magic trick. Nearly did. Herman plays off. They'll work it through Jones, and the Rams able to respond. Yet again, Malaya Jones coming up with a big-time swing, and that her 16th kill.
Yeah, that was ultra pivotal. A&M, you could tell they were starting to believe, and now Colorado State just 2 away. Third set's 1-1 match, so often decisive. Can Colorado State close it out?
Jones will have to serve here. That's a good one. A line drive handled by Underwood. Helmuth, and that will get the job done. Haven't called Emily Helmuth's name very much here in this third set. She comes up with a timely kill there to pull the Aggies back to within 1.
Yeah, great power, but even more important, she was able to get some backspin on that ball. And you saw Doty got a pretty clean bump on it, and it just sailed out of play.
Perkins back to serve. Handled by Stanford. In center, it's Jones. What a play to keep that alive, Humphrey. Now Helmuth, we're tied at 23.
Humphrey, I mean, that is amazing. Taller player at 6'3", so dominant in front. You saw her stopping that dump earlier from Emery Herman. That time, sliding across, getting low. Let's take another look at it. That great block, Colorado State building a route, but not able to save it.
Everything on the line here in the third. They play it through Lieber. Great hustle to keep it alive, Lednicki. But it's a broken down sequence. Can the Rams take advantage? They play it through Stanford. Not quite on the initial attack. Helmuth, who's been great recently, played off Stanford yet again, and Stanford comes through. Set point for the Rams.
If you're Colorado State, you get that free ball. You need to take advantage. They don't in terms of scoring. Great effort from A&M defensively to stay alive, but then Colorado State sticks with it. They had the advantage. They pushed it, and Stanford, the punctuation mark, a chance to end set 3 with a victory here.
22 aces on the year for Kennedy Stanford. We already saw an ace close out 1 set in this match so far. Can the Rams win 2 sets in a row and sit in the driver's seat as we head to the 4th? Stanford ready. A deep breath for the redshirt senior. High arcing, handled by Humphrey. Played to center, Kazapala. It's dug out by Stanford. Great effort to keep it alive. Back we go on the A&M side. Played to center, Kazapala, and we're tied at 24.
Wow. Texas A&M, man, down 16-11. They scored 13 of the last 21 points to stay alive.
And now it's Maddie Walk. The southpaw, dug out by Yoshimoto. And it's a block party for the Aggies, but not to be, just out of play. And yet again, for the second time, the Rams will have a set point.
Yeah, deflecting off Lednicki. I thought she got it on first glance. Our view blocked up a little bit by this top official. And now Colorado State, to your point, second attempt to end it.
And it's Yoshimoto, who we've loved watching today, with a serve Underwood able to handle. They play off near side, Lednicki. And it's a marathon of a third. We're tied at 25.
Yeah, not ready to concede this third set. Logan Lednicki, and I love that from Texas A&M, right? Find a way to get your star the ball, win or lose on her right arm, and more often than not, you're going to win if it's Logan Lednicki.
Shifted her over to this near side on the bottom of your screen on that most recent attack. Herman. They'll play it through Jones, and why not? 17 kills now for Jones. And for the third time, it's set point for the Rams.
Man, I love this. Jones and Lednicki going mano and mano, neither one wanting to concede this third set. Two powerhouses showing off.
This is what it's all about. Emery Herman now for Colorado State. Barely handled by Stinson. They play Lednicki. We're not done yet. Wow. Another big-time kill for Logan Lednicki. 15 now in this match.
I was going to say, she's creeping up. The hit percentage for both of them is creeping up. They're playing their best volleyball when it matters most.
Underwood to serve for the Aggies. Set to center. It's blocked in front, but it will be a point for Colorado State. Can the Rams finally get over the hump? This is now their fourth set point.
Lednicki has improved defensively, but two different tries at block, same position, and she was just out-dueled that time by Malaya Jones.
Brune, the service specialist, hammers home a good one. Lednicki responds again. She's come up with the point. All four set point attempts for Colorado State.
Yeah, she loves going cross court. We saw her mix it up with a roll shot early on. Since then, she's mostly been going straight power, cut shot, cross court over and over and over again in Colorado State. If she keeps it in, they haven't really had an answer.
This time she'll be back to serve. Boy, is she fun to watch. Using that weapon of a left arm. Hammering home. They play it off Jones. She's denied. The sixth block for Texas A&M. And now the Aggies jolt in front.
And you were wondering if there was a little relief to be had for Colorado State with Lednicki rotating back. Not that time. Great effort by Humphrey.
Can Texas A&M steal the third? Jones. Broken sequence. Stanford. And now a chance for Texas A&M. They play it off to Humphrey. Still alive. Free ball now as they play it in center to Weathers. In center, and the Aggies take it. Morgan Perkins comes up with the excellent kill, and Texas A&M climbs all the way back to win a thriller in the third, 29-27.
It had been a really quiet day for the former Sooner, but when she was needed most, Morgan Perkins was there. Her fourth kill of the day, the SEC's leader in hit efficiency, comes up with a big one late, and you said it, A&M down 16-11, steals the third set. Does Colorado State have a response? We'll find out in just a sec here on ESPN+.
Forget about 9 lives. The Aggies were down to a set point. Well for Texas A&M. Partner, we were just talking about this during the break, and certainly it's something to keep an eye on now moving into the fourth set. The response for Colorado State. They had the Aggies against the ropes, using a boxing analogy. They were laying blow after blow, but Texas A&M was able to come back. Rocky Balboa knockout late in that third set. And now Colorado State playing with their season on the line. How do they respond after what was really a gut punch in that third?
Yeah, 4 chances to end it, and goldfish memory, right? I'm going to go Ted Lasso on this. You got to just wipe it off and look at the positive that you could have won that third set, probably should have won that third set, and I would say over the last 2 have been the better team.
Gonna serve this fourth set, getting going, Maddie Walk. Can the Rams stay alive here in the fourth set, or will the 6th-seeded Aggies move on?
Yeah, first few points, Braden, I think are really important in this fourth set.
Lednicki will play straight down line. It's out of play, and Colorado State gets the first point. I think you're spot on. These are very important opening points for Colorado State.
We've seen both teams flash a lot of composure, come back from deficits, but fourth set, it can start to get a little out of hand, just starts feeling like a boulder going downhill if you're Colorado State and you're losing.
Emery Herman was to serve for the Rams. She's able to get some pause on that to keep it alive. Stanford plays it off. Yoshimoto Now in center, Kazapala denied, but the point will go Texas A&M's way. Just out of play. Nice attempt that time by Weathers.
I thought Weathers was going to be able to finish that off. She's been so good, basically starting halfway through that second set, but nice job by Kazapala, just staying tall, able to avoid touching that one.
Joey Stinson back on service line. Jones with a big-time swing. It's handled that time by Lednicki, showing she can do it on defense as well.
We talk about them exchanging blows. Like there was some electricity in this gym on those last few points because those two are going at each other. But it's been rare they've actually interacted head-to-head. That was a rare one-on-one win for Lednicki.
You're exactly right. There's some juice in this building right now. That was a beautiful, nice job readjusting midair by Weathers. It wasn't exactly the best ball to play off of, but Weathers was able to handle it.
Braden, sometimes I've done a lot of high school volleyball in my life, and there's just that one player who's good to play college that can kind of float, and you're like, all right, everyone else is jumping, she's flying. Weathers looks that way compared to high-level D1 competition.
That's quite the compliment. That time, the Aggies able to get a point back in Stanford, and the Rams were kind of just off kilter that time. And it is Texas A&M back in front 3-2.
Yeah, A&M, I mean, they're just steady, right? It was exactly what I was saying about Colorado State earlier. Don't really get shook. Just kind of keep playing the same way, not too high, not too low. I love the way the mental game is for this A&M team.
That's a thing of beauty. Right on cue, Weathers attacks down Broadway.
And there you go, right? Hanging, but then also the power. We saw the carry earlier. There's no need for her to do it. Flat hand, she can put it wherever she wants with speed.
We mentioned her leaping ability earlier in this game, and that's something the coach said, look, I can teach you volleyball. I can't teach you how to jump high. It's like you can't teach speed either. Played across court. Lednicki has loved that. That's been her bread and butter so far this afternoon. She gets another point there.
Yeah, I think just picking out weak points in this Colorado State defense and going after it, and it's so tough, right? Because you're gearing up for that ball coming right at you, and she hits that cut shot. It goes other side of the court. You're like, wait, how did it get there? But with speed, with backspin, if you can master that shot, it is just a dirty weapon. In the
Manning with an ace. And that matches her career high in terms of aces. What a day at the office it's been for Margot Manning, who has stepped into this role, had that great sequence at the end of the first set, and has carried it on here into the fourth. Aggies by 2. Manning again with another good serve, but it's Jones able to respond for the Rams. Kill number 19 for Malaya Jones.
And she just seems to find the big ones, right? Anytime her team, whether it's like putting a punctuation mark on a run or getting her team back in it, she finds a way.
So Jones will now be the star of the show for the Rams on that back line. Where would Colorado State beat without Malaya Jones? Probably not in this tournament. Stanford able to get a little bit of contact to keep it alive. Nice job by Yoshimoto to get it back across, but an opportunity for the Aggies. It's played off right to our broadcast table.
Good
and
hands.
It's another point.
Wow.
This isn't about us, Kevin. It is not about us.
You made a good play on it. I want to give you some credit.
Another point for Texas A&M. It's the Aggies by 2.
And here's Tatum Thomas again, who had just that crucial stretch in set 3, right? Those back-to-back aces. You talk about how Texas A&M came back. That is, in some ways, a fluky event, but that's what they needed to win.
It's an ace right on cue. And the momentum starting to flow the way of the Aggies from College Station. Yet again, Tatum Thomas, who has been that emerging star as this match has worn on.
I mentioned earlier it was 8-5 in terms of total aces in Colorado State's favor. Colorado State hasn't gotten an ace since. A&M's up to 9.
Stanford bringing the hammer. Big-time retort for the Rams.
Yeah, that's a big point, but I want to go back to that. We said, how do you create variance, right? It's winning that service game. It was all Colorado State. It has flipped in the last set and a half. A&M's had the last 4 aces. That's why they're in control right now.
It's Kennedy Stanford now to try to hold Colorado State back to within 1. Lednicki, more of a finesse play on that ball that time. Jones was denied. Another block for A&M. That's their 8th. it's Morgan Perkins who will go at it now for Texas A&M.
Yeah, fresh off that winner in set 3.
Wasn't quite located where the Rams would have wanted it. Here's Jones. Tapped over. Good hustle to keep this rally alive. Barely in the nick of time to get it where they wanted it. Here's Jones. Again handled by Perkins, who's battling on that back line, and ultimately it's out of play, and it goes Colorado State's way. Want to correct myself on a last sequence, by the way. Jones, that was an attack error, not a block for Texas A&M.
Yeah, really nice work from Emery Herman there. It started with her on what should have been a free ball for A&M. She made it really difficult. I think it was Helmuth who couldn't quite handle it, and that kind of tilted the level of play towards Colorado State.
Aggies by 2. Number 6 seed in this region. That's going to be launched into the 3rd row, and Colorado State back to within 1.
And that's the beauty of having a superstar, right? Malaya Jones will just give you 4 or 5 of those points that are no-brainers, right? Either on just straight kills or plays where it ends up in the crowd because of the power she put on the initial hits.
It's a great point. And to strategize out sets, you really need to focus on winning about 20 points because you can account for Jones, or for Texas A&M's side, you can account for Lednicki to come through with big plays. And that's where we saw both teams rally to in that 3rd set.
It's simplistic analysis, but it's superstars doing superstar things. It gives you a little bit of margin for error.
Elevating up, that time was Weathers. Nice job by the Aggies to handle that. Humphrey in center, big time swing, and a monster kill for Helmuth.
And that's what this could come down to. It's what it looked like it was going to come down to early. A&M is more heavy hitters than Colorado State. Colorado State did so many things right to offset that. If they're not all clicking, the power advantage for A&M will come into play.
Here's Maddie Walk, the southpaw. Texas A&M has been in front the entire set so far, ever since Colorado State struck first. Herman now in center to Walk. Denial, and a point for the Rams. Big time play as Weathers was there along with Herman.
Yeah, Emery Herman, I mean, Mrs. Reliable for Colorado State over and over again. Right place, and not only right place, right decision, right touch, seemingly each and every time. And Herman went cross-body to just get that with her left hand.
That serve barely got over as well. Underwood able to keep it alive. Now played off Walk, and there's another kill right on cue for Lednicki. Boy, she's a problem.
Just consistent, right? It feels like every time she's touching it, she's presenting some kind of issue. When it's not a kill, it is getting Colorado State out of system, and that's how you're second in the entire SEC in kills per set this year.
That's now 18 kills for Lednicki. Finesse that time proving to be the correct strategy. Maria Brune, who we've talked about a lot in terms of her ability to serve, she'll have another chance here.
Yeah, I'm going to say beyond her years for Maria Brune, right? Just a freshman, but has all the shots we talked about in service as we got a little cleanup here on the floor. Better than anyone as a freshman this year, and that just kind of implies a technical skill set that is very, very rare for a player that young. Well-trained, you said it, out of Barcelona.
Volleyball rich country in Spain. Brune played off Walk. Lednicki. It was deflected, but fell down for another point for Lednicki. That's her 19th kill.
And Lednicki's ridiculous, right? At what, 6'3"? Her ability to just float to the ball, right? And knew she wasn't going to hit it that hard. That ball, you'll see it here, not really a high trajectory, and Lednicki just kind of stymies herself, seeing that ball was faltering and able to just push it over.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Wow.
That's Lednicki.
Did you just come up with that? That was great.
Yeah, off the top of my head.
Really good.
Lednicki yet again. There she is, stinging like a bee for another. That's now 20 kills for Lednicki. The Aggies are on top by 4. And for Logan Lednicki, she's now 4th all-time in a single season for kills for Texas A&M. It's a media timeout.
Leading the second in the SEC and just under 5 kills a set. She is up to 5 kills a set. We're not even done with set 4. The All-SEC performer is going to have a case at All-American Texas A&M, closing in on a win.
The first round of the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championships continue after this on ESPN Plus as 3-seed Arizona State meets New Hampshire. Sun Devils are in the NCAA tournament and hosting for the first time since 1995. Meanwhile, the Wildcats, 8-time Atlantic East champs. They're looking for their first ever tournament win. That's next on ESPN Plus. But this one's got to wrap up first. Texas A&M out in front by 4, 1 set away from moving on to the second round. Stanford led Lednicki. Dug out nicely on that back line by Doty. Keep this long rally alive. It's a dump that's handled by Yoshimoto. Now back on a cross-court ball. Again, another solid dig. Lednicki will end up with a point ultimately. It's been that kind of a set for Texas A&M. They just won't die tonight.
Every point is worth just a point, obviously, and that is what Colorado State is saying here. That one felt like more than a point. It was a big rally, and A&M won it.
Rams need to get momentum going. Lednicki dug out on that back line again by Doty. Big time swing. That was walk for A&M. Now Lednicki again, who has just been rising to the occasion as this thing has gotten later and later, but that time played to center, and that was Weathers for the Rams.
I brought it up a few times. So Weathers had that carry earlier. She's done such a good job towing the line, getting high enough where she can control the ball with a flat palm, keeping it legal, finishing it off. She's played a heck of a game after a tough first set.
Jordan Tinsky. The Tinsky twirl would be welcomed by the Rams right now. Instead, it's Lednicki attacking on that cross-court ball. Herman. Walk. Lednicki denied. Second effort's there. Jones with a chance. Jones comes through.
And again, it's Emory Herman. I feel like I'm on repeat here. Right place, right time to chase that ball down, give a chance to Jones. Jones obviously gets the accolades. Herman makes so much of it happen. Emily Cohen said as much when we talked to her.
A little bit of momentum here for Colorado State, trying to rally and force a fifth set. Laying out for that ball to keep it alive was Herman. Lednicki, broken sequence. It ends up for an A&M point regardless. Played nicely by Taylor Humphrey. We hadn't called her name in a while, Gavin, but she certainly is a primetime player for Texas A&M.
Again, it's just the bodies for Texas A&M, right? Someone always seems to step up. If it's not Casapala, if it's not Helmuth, maybe it's Emily Herman and getting it done that time.
Margot Manning back there, as we noted, a career high in aces so far today. They attack Manning that time, and guess who it was? Jones yet again for her 22nd kill.
And that is just good scouting from Jones, right? You have a service specialist in, make them pay for being in the game. If they don't get that ace, go after them defensively. Went straight at Manning. Manning couldn't take the heat that time. Now Jones to the service line.
There's Jones back there. Walk. That was quick. A&M's trying to play quicker offensively, but it doesn't matter that time. Herman on the dump.
Over and over and over again, a borderline career night at this point for Emory Herman, up to her 8th kill.
Flirting with a potential double-double. Here's Jones. Back there again for Colorado State. They've tightened it up to 2. Jones, a big swing. She does it again. They're not going to go away quietly. Jones now with yet another kill. It's a 3-0 run for the Rams. She's up to 23, and it is a 1-point fourth set.
Yeah, and just circling back, we can say that is a career high, at least at Colorado State. 8 kills for Herman Jones. This is old hat, right? What is that, 23rd, 24th on the day? She's been everything you want, a fifth-year superstar, potentially playing her last game, trying to stave off elimination, an existential crisis for Malaya Jones. She's keeping her head. She's dominating.
Existential crisis.
Do you think I'm being melodramatic? I don't know. But that's what it is. Look, that's your whole life, right? College volleyball. And Malaya Jones, she's doing everything she can to keep the Rams in it.
Gavin, you were insistent on talking about 2 main players to start this broadcast, and that, of course, was Malaya Jones and Logan Lednicki. You seem to be smart. Take a look at these stars, and boy, have they shown out.
You make me sound like I bullied everyone into it. I said, no, we're talking Jones, we're talking Lednicki. But if I had, and I'm not saying I did, I would be justified because they've been dominant. 23 kills for Jones, 21 for Lednicki. Lednicki's been more efficient, 319, but I would argue Jones has a little more weight on her shoulder, right? We talk about the diversity of options for Texas A&M.
With another serve. Handled the walk. Lednicki was denied. And it was Stanford that time.
Stanford, another player, and I'm going to use the term existential crisis, 5th-year senior from Texas, right? This is a pride game for Kennedy Stanford, for Jordan Tinsky, a couple of different Colorado State Rams, and she's showing some fight right now.
It's getting juicy here in the 4th. Jones remains back there. She's been really solid in this sequence. Finally, Texas A&M able to snap that 4-0 run, and they played it through Taylor Humphrey that time.
Yeah, Humphrey, I just look at the footwork because that is so much of volleyball, right? Just knowing where to be positioned, getting your steps right, hoping the pass is commensurate with that, and her timing was just picture perfect there.
Guess who it is back there for A&M? It's Tatum Thomas, who has aged like fine wine in this match. 3 aces. Can she make it a 4th? Not quite, but it was a good one. Got Stanford off balance. And now a chance for the Aggies to try to strike again. They do indeed. Emily Helmuth pushes the Aggies lead back to 2.
And there have been stretches this year where Helmuth has been their best player, just consistently getting big rips on the ball. You don't get a ton of opportunities when you're playing with Lednicki. She makes hers count.
Again, it's Thomas. Can the Aggies run away and hide? Not quite yet. They attack Lednicki, and it's another kill for Jones.
And we kept saying it, you don't see those two interact very often. I like Jones making Lednicki feel her, saying, hey, you're out here for your offense, I'm making you play some defense.
Jones is realistically having one of the best matches of her career. And I don't think that's wild to say. She broke the school record for kills in a 4-set match earlier this year. That's played across court, and the Aggies get one right back. Their lead is 18-16.
Yeah, Jones had 31 against Boise State, and could be close to that number by night's end, but A&M is hoping that night's over a little bit early.
It's Morgan Perkins back there, who came up clutch in that wild 3rd set, a set the Aggies won 29-27. Herman played cross court. It's all Malaya Jones right now for Colorado State, single-handedly keeping the Rams in it.
And that's just really smart distribution from Colorado State, right? Kasapala on that right side gets the good block. You say, hey, she's one of the best blockers in the nation. Let's go away from her. They attack the opposite side of the court, and Jones able to get it to go.
Walk played back to that far side. That's a major hammer by Helmuth. It was somehow dug out, but again, they attack Yoshimoto, and that time, she couldn't get to it.
And that size, like the way this match started, it's starting to feel like it's going to end that way. The size, the physicality of A&M taking over, right? David versus Goliath. Yoshimoto takes one on the chin. It deflects all the way the other direction. And then Kasapala says, take this, and Yoshimoto not up to it.
It's a stuff right in center. Point kept alive, Lednicki. Tried on a dump. Nice job that time by Humphrey, responding quickly, and there's Lednicki yet again. Kill number 22.
And I just want to talk, we'll get to Lednicki. I want to talk about the volleyball IQ of Taylor Humphrey. We said it those first 2 sets over and over again. Herman kept going back to that same move. And now over and over again, it is Humphrey the one stopping it. That was the 2nd time or the 3rd time. She's been right on top of it. The one player on A&M perfectly tracking and saying, I know that move. I patented that move. You're not going to get away with it. Taylor Humphrey on top of it.
How about Logan Lednicki? We've talked about her at length so far tonight, but not enough can be said. 22 kills, hitting at an even 300 so far. And she's really been everywhere for Texas A&M. When they've needed a big-time play, it's no surprise they've ran it through number 9.
Yeah, and look, we touched on it early, but I think it bears repeating. She has the talent to be kind of a hit-it-and-forget-it kind of player. I think the way Jamie Morrison described it was last season, she was kind of hit and hope, right? And she was so powerful that made her one of the best players in the SEC. But this year, the calibration, the ability to take speed off, to put a cut shot across the court, to put a roll shot right at you when you're not expecting it, it has just made her, frankly, unstoppable at times this season, and we're seeing that today, showing the full repertoire. I think Colorado State's done a really good job on her, and she's still approaching 25 kills.
Right. It just goes to show what she's capable of. Season high at 27 kills, and that came against Tennessee. She's flirting with that range right here with 22. Her team needs just 5 more points to advance to the second round of the NCAA tournament.
This is the Colorado State team that's all about responding. Started non-conference 0-4 against a run of top competition. Since then, 20-6. They fight back. Can they do it here?
Walk to serve for the Aggies. Do or die time for Colorado State. They work it through Weathers. Ball still alive now for Texas A&M. Helmuth couldn't quite get it into touch, and there's a big-time kill for Weathers.
I loved watching Emery Herman's expression. I'm not the best lip reader, but I think what she said is, I told you. She's imbuing her team with confidence. And Naima Weathers, she can put a punctuation mark on a setter's confidence.
Underwood. Lednicki was denied. And the Rams back to within 1. That timeout was called perfectly by Emily Cohen, and Colorado State's got some momentum now.
I think you have 2 confident teams here. At A&M, totally unfazed. Colorado State feels like they can bounce back. Can they do what A&M did to them and win a set that they look like they shouldn't?
Right. Can they climb the mountaintop? Can they get over the top? Well, they've got to the peak here. We're tied at 20.
Yeah, Maria Brun caught up that time. She climbed Everest. I don't know any mountains in Spain. If not, I would have said one. I'm sorry. I'll work on my geography when I get home, but that's a heck of an effort from the freshman that time.
3 straight points for Colorado State. We're tied at 20. And when their back was up against the wall, the Rams answered. And now it's the first to 5 or more, I suppose.
And it feels so similar. Well, I mean, what was the lead? It was 19-16 last set for Colorado State, and A&M fought back. Great work on service and then feeding their superstar. And now if you're Colorado State, right, it's been a little bit of everyone else. You can go to Malaya Jones and said, hey, superstar, bring us home. Of course, A&M's going to say the same thing to Logan Lednicki. I think we're heading towards another classic finish. That third set, some of the best volleyball I've ever watched. Braden Bell, I think this one's shaping up similarly.
Well, and that says a lot. That's high praise, and it was a thriller of a third set. Both these teams battling for so much. But this sometimes the hardest part of a match. If you're Texas A&M trying to close out a team. Closing out is hard anytime, but when the season is on the line, the urgency is put to a whole nother level. Colorado State's been able to respond after it looked like they were on the brink. And now, like we said, out of this timeout, something's got to give.
And we talk a lot about the superstars, rightfully. They were the key pieces down the stretch last time. I look towards the tertiary players. Naima Weathers just having a heck of a game. 474 hit percentage, 10 kills. She's really stepped up. And for Texas A&M, I mean, we've talked about all of them. Casapala stepping up, Helmuth stepping up, Taylor Humphrey offensively early, defensively lately. Morgan Perkins ended set 3. So many different options. You can't only go to your star, go to the player in the best position, because if things hold, they'll stand up.
There's a 3-0 run for the Rams. Herman delivers the serve, and it will go out of play, and Texas A&M gets a much-needed point out of the timeout. Colorado State, remember, they've got 1 timeout left. They can use it if they need to. Pardon me. Both teams actually out of timeouts.
So Colorado State, I think the reason Emily Cohen burned it early, 1, because they were struggling, 2, she trusts them.
It's Stinson. Jones yet again. primetime player, Malaya Jones, with 26 kills.
It tells you what I know. I'm talking about the tertiary talents. It's Lednicki and Jones.
Yeah.
Deja vu all over again. Lednicki won the battle last time. Can Jones take it this time around?
Brune now to serve. And you would think advantage Colorado State when she's back there. Lednicki says maybe not so fast. Great effort to keep it alive by Brune. In center, walk. Lednicki, finesse. Diving play, Yoshimoto. Now to the far side, Jones, back line, out of play. A&M on top by 1.
Yeah, that was so close. You just have to touch that line to keep it in, and just a touch far from Jones. A&M, good eye on it, but that was Jones putting in a place where she said, this is on me, right? You're not going to be able to defend this. I have to keep it in. She couldn't. A&M 4 points away, or 3 away now, excuse me.
Best on best. This is so much fun. Ava Underwood now back for the Aggies. A fluttering serve, handled by Jones. Now straight to center, it's Weathers. 22 apiece.
She has played almost perfectly since a tough first set, hitting 500 for the match now. We said it earlier, I'll say it again. 3rd in the nation in hit percentage. She's outperforming that against maybe the best defense she's played all year.
Big time serve this time for Tinsky. Pressure on both sides. It's a denial kept alive. What an effort play by the Aggies. And it results in another kill. Right down, straight down the barrel. Taylor Humphrey, 2 points away for Texas A&M.
Yeah, I want to see another look at that. Was that a pancake by Texas A&M? I think we're only going to get the end of it, and you see the dominance from Taylor Humphrey. But earlier on the other side of the court, somehow digging that one out, I believe it was Ellie Stinson who just got a hand under the ball. I thought they were done. Instead, those are the kind of plays that win championships. Those are the kind of plays that keep you around against pesky first-round foes like Colorado State. And it was a pancake, and now we see Emily Cohen challenge that Stinson actually got there.
Easy decision here to challenge it, even if it's not overturned. You've got to challenge it in this situation. It's a swing point. At this stage of set number 4, with Texas A&M now just 2 points away from where we stand at the moment. But will things be shifted? Will things overturn? A crucial challenge here late in the 4th.
And I love Emily Cohen being on top of that, right? As a younger coach, easy to get swept away in this moment. Her first tournament as a head coach, and instead she's right on top of it, right? Saying, hey, I'm not quite sure on that. I'm going to throw it right now. And then on the other end, Jamie Morrison. We've gotten to talk about him a little bit, but I mean, what a resume. A gold in Beijing, a silver in London with the women's team, a bronze in Rio, also with the women's team. And as a head coach, recruiting in one of the most talent-rich states in volleyball in the country, in Texas, how can you not? Like, I would walk in with those 3 medals, right? Like, that is such a tool for him. And it's why he's been able to get so many players in the program, as A&M is going to win that challenge and keep the point.
Huge, huge pancake in that moment. I mean, that's as clutch as it gets. And now, speaking of clutch, Logan Lednicki back to serve. Her squad 2 points away from moving on to tomorrow night's regional final. Good looking serve. They played a center right down Broadway. A big swing for Lieber. They now block it. Kept alive, but not for long. 23 aside.
Yeah, Colorado State. I mean, just a great effort there. You want to get it to Weathers, instead went to Lieber. A collective effort wins the point.
It's Jones back there. Handled by Humphrey. To center. Was it out of play? It was. Immediately the Aggies calling for a challenge.
Yeah, and you saw some hesitancy from Ron Pullum, our first referee that time. He had to look over to Dan Swenson, the line judge, on the back left of your screen because he wasn't sure about that call.
Let's have a look at this. The biggest of swing points. We just had a big challenge. This one even bigger. And boy, did it get in. That is close. It was called Colorado State's point.
I think this is going to end up going to A&M because I also
on the floor.
Yeah, and I think it's on top of that. Yoshimoto might have touched it.
You got to have enough to overturn it. Remember that. If you're watching at home, of course, the call on the floor is so important. And will there be enough to overturn this? And it's the biggest of calls because it'll be a set point for Colorado State or a match point for Texas A&M.
Yeah, Jamie Morrison, he's looking up at the big board. He's trying to get another look. And
how fun has this been?
Yeah, I mean, two in a row, coming down to the wire. My heart rate's up. I think my doctor would recommend I find another career. This has been drama on drama on drama. Can you say a little December madness here in Tempe? It's been a blast, and I think this might go Texas A&M's way. And if it does, it would be heartbreak for Colorado State. They've been on the brink twice. A chance again to be a point away. But even if this does stick with Colorado State, I zoom back to set 3 when you said it. Colorado State at service point, or set point rather, 4 separate times, unable to finish up. It is going to be reversed. Texas A&M gets it.
Wow.
1 away from moving on to round 2 for the first time since 2019.
They have taken some punches today from the Rams. Now the star of the night, Logan Lednicki, serving match point for Texas A&M. Can she close it out? She's been rock solid all night long. Number 9 for the Aggies. Ready to try to send them through, but first a pause for a brief moment.
Yeah, you see the discussion. Nikki Cathell, second referee, checking in with Jamie Morrison, maybe.
And there will be a different person to serve for A&M now. It'll be Taylor Humphrey.
Yeah, perhaps an illicit substitution or just out of rotation there was A&M.
Yep. All right, here we go. So it's Taylor Humphrey to try to send the Aggies on to the second round. Match point. NCAA tournament. This has been so much fun. Can the Rams survive? 1 more point. Humphrey ready to go. Delivers the serve. Handled Yoshimoto. This is a tough sequence. Stanford gets it over the top, though. They set to the far side. Texas A&M dances on. The Aggies win it in the 4th set, 25-23. And they march on in Tempe.
And it all starts with the initial effort on the service line by Taylor Humphrey. They didn't want her to serve. Ended up being the best option because Colorado State, I think, maybe a little nerves getting to them. They don't handle it cleanly. They give A&M a free ball, and at that point, you just kind of had a feeling it was over. And Emily Helmuth stepped up early, steps up late to close this one out. What a kill to finish it off for A&M. First time in round 2 in the last 6 seasons.